Today, we are going to be reviewing a June beginner crypto portfolio that we built 6 months ago and find out what would have happened if you had followed our advice and invested your $10,000 into these coins. Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. It's a Saturday morning special edition. As I said, we're going through a portfolio update today. Towards the end of the show, if we have some time, we might still do some questions and answer times with some of your favorite charts. Of course, Chainlink popping off today. It seems to be one of the only bullish coins of the top 100. But today, again, it's all about going back. If you had built that portfolio with us, just what did we do correctly? What would your investment look like? And what are some changes that we might make over the next little bit to make the most money possible in this bull market? But before we get into those details and go through all the numbers, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and first, we got to roll the intro. All right. We got T-Shroom in the house. May has Saturdays off, but it's good to have T-Shroom and myself here. What's going on with you? How's your day going so far here, T-Shroom?
Oh, well, Tim, I am doing better than I deserve. And, man, I've got to say, I'm going to be hitting the zoo today. Going to be a lot of fun. There's a zoo here in the Space Coast. So we're going to, hopefully the weather permits. We may have to get a rain check because it's a little drizzly out. So if the rain picks up, we'll have to get a rain check. But excited to go see all the fun animals at the Brokerage Zoo. So
we might go to the zoo as well. I'm not that we made that plan, but you say that and it's enticing me. We got beautiful weather here in Georgia. We have a nice Atlanta zoo. I got to build a trampoline for Brody today. His grandparents got him a trampoline for Christmas, and since we're not going to be here on Christmas, we let him open it here. He has no idea what it is. He just sees the box.
Is it a
he
full
sees the
size
picture
one or a mini?
No, it's like, I think it might have a radius of, well, not
What's
a radius.
The radius? What's
not
the radius,
Tim.
What's the circumference?
A diameter. It might have a diameter of like 5 feet, 6 feet, something like that.
Okay, cool.
So not a huge trampoline, but for a 19-month-old, I think he's 19 months at this point. It's going to be good enough. It's going to get the job done.
Are you going to double jump him on the trampoline? Probably not.
Probably not. I don't think I'm going to be jumping on this trampoline. All right, let's get into it here. So for anyone who doesn't know, maybe you're newer to the channel, maybe you've just started following us, welcome. We're so glad you are here. Back in June, towards the end of the month, we built a portfolio for crypto beginners. We told you guys, hey, if you want, or if you had $10,000, but we want to make sure you're conservative with it. We don't want to go crazy, give you good investments that will make you money in this bull market. This is a recommended breakdown of what that portfolio could look like. And today we're going to go through and look at what were the results in 6 months of that portfolio. What are some of the outliers? We also gave some honorable mentions that we could have put in here, but we decided not to. What did we make a mistake on? What do we potentially, even moving forward, want to change out about this portfolio? We're going to do all of that in today's show. But really quickly, before we get into that, there is something special happening literally right after today's show. T-Shroom, what's happening at noon today?
Absolutely. So right after the stream, we're holding our first ever Investing Bros webinar at noon Eastern Standard Time with the founder and CEO of Property Stewards, Mark Holloway. And guess what, bros? You are invited. How do you access it? There is a link just down below the video that you're watching now. Just scroll down. It'll say webinar. You can click that right after the stream, and you'll be led into our very first Investing Bros webinar. What are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about starting your own business and the opportunity over at Property Stewards that they have right now for you to take advantage of. You may have made some money in this crypto market so far, probably not enough to retire, but it could be enough to roll over into your very own business. Join us at noon today, noon Eastern. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Very, very cool. Well, let's start off here, T-Shroom, as we get into the portfolio update. Let's remind everybody, if you did not watch that video back in June, what the rules of this, what this portfolio looks like. So go to my screen here really quickly. These are the rules we put in place last time. Number one, you have to be able to buy this coin on Coinbase. So if you guys are sitting here saying, oh, is Caspa going to be on this list? Unfortunately, Caspa, as much as I would say it should be in a top 15 of coin holdings, it's not, because we wanted to keep this beginner friendly, right?
That's
You're
right.
brand new. You go buy coin, or you sign up for Coinbase. You're not going to be able to buy Caspa on there. So that didn't make the bill. Number two, we're staying inside the trusted top 100. We're not saying that experienced investors can't go find small caps to invest in that have amazing potential. That's awesome. But for a beginner, you really need to study the fundamentals of the top coins and invest in them first. Once you got months and years under your belt, then it's time to start looking for potential more risky plays. So only coins in the top 100 making the list here. Only 15 picks. We will have honorable mentions, but we did not invest in them. The plan is to hold until at least September 2025. So again, a traditional 4-year cycle bull market. We had to have 5 what we call safe picks. Picks are not going to 10x, 20x, 30x. We did not have the expectation, but solid, large projects like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, and others that we would consider more safe. Like, you're going to make some sort of return here. We have no more than 3 high risk, high reward choices, risky picks. So we allowed ourselves to do a little bit, but only 3 of them. And risky coins cannot have more than 4% of the portfolio. So 12% total. Those are the rules that we had. Now it's time to take a look at the portfolio. Okay, let's focus on what the portfolio looked like. Some honorable mentions. Some of them you're going to know right off the bat. Like, hey, we should have put that coin in here. But we talked about our 5 safe coins right here in green, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, and Sui. Sui squeaked in here. There was actually a lot of debate about if Sui should be in that safe one or one of the more, the blue ones, which is kind of our higher rally plays. It's kind of a fringe coin. Like, we said it was safe because it was an explosive layer 1, but it actually, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you guys. The best returns in this portfolio coming from Sui right here at our number 5 safe coin. Then, of course, with our expectations of bigger plays, we had Chainlink, Tau, Render, AVAX, Stacks, ICP, and Ondo. Okay. All of them are positive, by the way. Everything in our portfolio is positive. Some of them not performing the way we hoped. In fact, you're going to see the yellow highlights here. These 4 coins, Ethereum, Render, Stacks, Injective, we're going to look at and decide, do we want to continue to hold these in our portfolio, because they definitely underperformed and could have been easily replaced with other things. But our risky coins, Jasmy, Ray, and Injective, those kind of wrap us out. We're going to take a look at what those look like here in a second. But just so you know, our honorable mentions that we did not put in, but we're right on the outside that we said, hey, we still think these will do well. We just didn't put them in our top 15. We made some mistakes here, guys. XRP, Hedera, Dogecoin, Pepe, all doing very well. In fact, so did VeChain, Quant, and Theta, right? So all of these did very well. I'm going to reveal the numbers here very shortly, all of them behind these black boxes here, but we did not put them into our portfolio. Really wish I had. We will discuss which of these we might be swapping some of our top 15 out with. Stay tuned for that. We also put Uniswap, Sheeb, Polkadot, Optimism, Arbitrum, BNB, Pendle, Maker, and Toncoin as potentials. We'll show you guys later on what those did. But let's start off by just revealing what we had going on in this portfolio. $500 to Bitcoin, $500 to Ethereum, $1,000 to Solana, $500 to Cardano, $500 to Sui. Really should have put more. Should have put more in there. We probably need to reassess this portfolio when it's all said and done, Shroom, about how much money goes into them. But Chainlink got 1,500. I think that was a good choice. Tau, 500. Render, 750. AVAX, 500. Stacks, 1,000. Might have been a mistake there. I'm going to look at that. It's going to be a highlighter right there. It's a potential mistake. Doesn't mean we can't fix it in the bull market going forward, but that one, putting a little too much money in Stacks, I do believe, back in June. ICP, we put 750, Ondo 1,000, Jasmy 400, Ray 300, and Injective 300. The prices of all these coins, if we go ahead and get rid of our blocking here, we bought Bitcoin at 59,000. In fact, I'm not going to go through and read all of these numbers. That way the show is going to be very redundant and take a long time. But you guys can look at that, read through them. These were the prices when we purchased them. When we created this video and built this portfolio, this was the price of all of these coins. What is the price of them now? If I were to go a live updater, I'm sure some of these have changed, but this was the price of all of them as of 10:30 this morning. You can see almost everything, or I'm not almost everything. Everything has increased. Everything has increased. Bitcoin all the way up over 101,600. Ethereum 3,800. Not a very big gainer there. The biggest one you're going to see, and I'm going to show you the percentage gained over here, but the biggest one you're going to see here is SUI. In fact, before I even release these others, let's just go ahead and take a look. Where was our best gains and where was our worst losses? If I go ahead and get rid of the black here, you're going to see our overall, this number down here, our overall portfolio update. If you had bought these coins, you would have gone up 127%. I know it says 2.27. That's just because you take the current prices divided by the old prices. The increase was 2.27, or the division was there. Other words, 127% gains here. Biggest gainer right here, SUI up 492%. That one, again, why we should have put maybe a little bit more into 500. Cardano also doing very, very well, up 197% since that time. Should have put a little more money. Overall, though, here is what we have going on with the rest of these notes. Let's go ahead and release the rest. Here's our coins. We're probably going to publish this so that our members can see it. So if you're in Discord and you're one of our VIP traders, I will allow you guys to see this list so you can kind of keep an update on it. But this is the amount of coins we own. This is the current valuations. We went from having a $10,000 portfolio to having a $21,500 portfolio. Again, 127% increase. Not that bad. Honestly, not that bad. Before we move forward, Shroom, what are your thoughts so far about this? What are some things that are even just right off the bat sticking out to you, saying, like, why did we put that much money there? Why didn't we put more in this place? Why did we choose that coin? Give me your immediate feedback. T-Shroom's just seeing this list for the first time, by the way, everybody. I built this. I went and collected all the data. He's responding to it the same time you are.
Well, it's just making me feel even worse about not picking up SUI because, for me, I felt like it had just kind of flown under the radar for me. Kind of like Toncoin, which we'll talk about a little later. But, we were talking about it back in June, and I should have picked it up. But I was, I don't know. I don't know when you're, whenever you're trying to be competitive, sometimes you can't win them all. So I'm not going to get down on myself. But, yeah, definitely missed an opportunity with SUI, the one that got away. But I'm glad that I kept stacking, especially Bitcoin, and Chainlink has done extremely well. So I'm glad and very grateful for the coins that I did pick up. I'm excited to talk about the ones that we highlighted and what could potentially be replaced, what should be, what we should stick with. So that's going to be really interesting to get into.
Yeah, let's get into that. Let's start off with the ones that I've highlighted yellow. The reason they're yellow is because they're a little concerning to me. And you look over here, Ethereum, for example, 1.21, right? That means 21.4% increase. Very disappointing compared to the rest of them. That's the lowest gainer on the charts. And when you look at what Ethereum has done here, let's go back over and take a look. We're talking about, again, the prices for Ethereum way back here in June. We had a big fall. We've had a big rally since then. But again, it's only up 21% from where we were back in June. This is one that I think needs to be on the radar for potentially being replaced. And it's not that I don't think Ethereum's going to do well. It's because when I come down here, and we're going to talk about this. It's in the title, XRP. XRP is green. It means it's one of our safer picks. It was right on the outside of what we thought we should do. We decided to leave it off. Massive problem. Let me just go ahead and tell you guys what XRP did by releasing all this. XRP would go from 45 cents to $2.40 this morning. That is good for a 433% rally. Of course, easy to say if we had replaced $500 of Ethereum with $500 of XRP, we could have had some very good numbers there. We might even play with that a little bit later. But that's the first one sticking out to me, that Ethereum, it was a weak point here. Of course, when we had this list, I can't remember the exact data, but we'd either just gotten the Ethereum ETF or we were about to. People thought Ethereum was going to take off. And of course, like I showed you the chart, Ethereum would go on to fall during July and August, and then kind of capitulate down here, not capitulate, but consolidate, and before finally rallying again in November. But definitely the disappointment on the chart, right? It didn't even outperform Bitcoin when almost everything else did. Bitcoin, of course, up 72%, but that's not the only one I'm concerned about. Of course, we've talked about this before, and I put Render as our potential coin it's a coin on my 5 list that can 10x from here. I still believe Render has potential, but you just can't ignore the fact that Render right here, let's go ahead and make that one yellow as well. Render only up 35%. since this price. Again, 671. It's had a little bit of a roller coaster here too. Let's look at the render chart for a second. We're not gonna be able to do this with all of them, but again, we're talking about June prices way back in here. Big fall, kind of very similar to Ethereum. It's been rallying since November, but on our portfolio, the way this has been held, only 35% gains. It is something that you have to ask the question, hey, is something wrong with render? I mean, everything from this portfolio is not, we didn't buy the exact bottoms on anything, right? So when we made this portfolio, things fell and now they bounced back up, but these are the ones that just haven't bounced as well. Stacks doing a little bit better than these ones. It's up 50% since, but on the lower end of all of these, and it's one that we put $1,000 into. That to me is almost the question here. It's almost like, I'm not even saying we remove stacks, but did we allocate too much money to stacks? Yeah. Only up 50%.
I think of all of the questions so far, that is the one that's easiest to definitively say yes. We over allocated into stacks. Yeah. And it just goes to show that during narratives change. During the summer, the Bitcoin layer 2, the Bitcoin ecosystem coins were very, very hot. Everybody was getting very bullish on them. And, that's just one that hasn't played out. And it's kind of a complicated reason why. The first reason is because it's not clear that the Bitcoin whales, the traders that buy Bitcoin, or investors rather, that come in and buy Bitcoin, the layer 1, it's not clear that they really understand that, the potential of rotating into the ecosystem. They see Bitcoin as Bitcoin, and Bitcoin as the end of the day is just Bitcoin, right? They don't think of it like Ethereum, and you buy the layer 1 and then you go into the ecosystem and you buy the Uniswap and the meme coins and all of that. So that's the first phenomenon. The second one is, holy crap, Cardano came out of nowhere and has now created a scaling solution that essentially Stacks was going to be. So a better alternative to Stacks kind of came out of nowhere with what was it, BTOCS? I'm totally butchering that, but the collaboration between Bitcoin and Cardano is definitely a headwind for Stacks. But Tim, before we get any further, I wanted to compare this to the S&P 500, because some of you might be gem hunters and you're looking at this and you're like, it only 2.2x, that's nothing. But you have to realize that we like to compare ourselves to the benchmark of the financial markets, which is the S&P 500. And if you look from June to the present day, the S&P only grew just under 15%. Okay, and I'm sorry, not the S&P. I have the Qs pulled up here. So this is the QQQ, kind of a mirror of the NASDAQ. Okay, so the NASDAQ, which is a little bit more tech heavy, is going to actually perform better than the S&P, I believe. Only did 15%, right? So when we go back and we look at our portfolio of crypto, not U.S. equities, of the safe, somewhat conservative with some high flyer plays in there with Injective Jasmy Ray, we completely smashed what the Qs did in this time period. So you might be somebody out there who's 20x their money by investing in small cap ecosystem coins. Great for you. But what you do have to realize is that in the Investing Bros community, we consider ourselves to be more conservative within the crypto space. Might sound like an oxymoron to you, but we do believe that these names that you're seeing here and some others are literally the future of investment. They are the blue chips that are going to be the next Amazon, Google, Tesla type equivalent investments. So you may not believe that. That's what we believe, and we're trying to outperform the S&P 500 and NASDAQ. And as you can see here, we absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, and I want to remind people, this is a beginner-friendly portfolio. So a lot of experienced guys in here saying, why aren't you putting this coin in or this coin or this coin? This was, again, a portfolio made for people who maybe have never invested before. So if you've never invested before and in 6 months you double your investment, that is a amazing thing. If you're used to the stock market, if you're a TradFi guy, doubling your money in 6 months when you can just one-time purchase, walk away, go on vacation, hang out with your family, and double your money in 6 months. These are all dreams come true. Now, we're realizing, again, that we're going through this. If we had done things a little differently, we could have potentially quadrupled the money, right? If we had XRP in here instead of maybe Ethereum, if we had some of these other picks, we're going to go through in a little bit, we could have done a lot more. But That, hindsight's always 2020. Now we're going to use some of this information and decide what do we want to potentially change around in this portfolio. I saw someone even say, Tim, if you change out your picks right now, you could lose out on potential gains. I want you to know, just because I'm putting these coins as being yellow doesn't mean we're going to take them out, because there could be something fundamentally about those coins that's about to take off. But I do want to be aware that in the last 6 months, we put these coins as our top 15 list and we held out others and they underperformed. Is there a case that these other coins that were on our just outside list deserve a spot from here on out in this portfolio? That's where to go through. Let's look at the last one here that just barely, I don't want to say underperformed because 56% is still good, but Injective, it was one of the lower ones here. Didn't even outperform Bitcoin. It only rose by 56%. So these four, I mean, we have a couple other 70s and 72s, like ICP's only 71%. 90, almost 500, almost 500%. Cardano, almost 200%. Tau was almost 200%. We had Ray down here, almost 400%, or sorry, almost 300%. So we had some big wins on this list. The question is, do we replace them? And so now let's get into how the rest of our portfolio, not portfolio, but honorable mentions perform. Yeah. We already talked about XRP.
I'm excited.
It was the biggest gainer. Biggest gainer there, XRP. Could have been 433% gains. Let's just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and release all of it right here. Oop. Did not get all of the blocks there, so let me do this again. Let's release all the information and take a really quickly. Pick which one, Shroom, you think. Well, pick which one you think would have been terrible, and which one not called XRP is the best.
I think Toncoin was actually it's been a whipsaw. It performed really well in 2023, especially the second half. But I think that one's going to show a kind of a dismal. I think Dogecoin and maybe even Pepe have been the biggest performers on this list other than XRP. Let's see.
Well, I made it really easy because on this one, I listed in order of what had the best gains to the worst gains. So we're going to reset here.
Oh, I see.
H-bar.
I did not know that.
I knew you didn't know that, so that's why I asked anyways. But anyone who was watching might have said, I think that he might have this in order here, in which case you would have been right. Big gainers. Again, these orange ones, I'm kind of watching and saying, hey, these easily could have been in the top one and been part of what made our portfolio at least triple, if not quadruple. I mean, again, 433% for XRP, 327% for HBAR, 257% for Dogecoin, 150 for Pepe, 152 for VeChain, 102 for Quant, 102 for Theta. I mean, these are big gains, right? We're doubling, tripling, quadrupling our money with those picks. We didn't have them. They were just outside of our list, didn't make it. Big disappointment here. You mentioned it. Had a great 2023. Toncoin, the only coin on this list that actually went negative. You see it here is 0.93. Well, you have to subtract from 1. That means we lost. If you had invested in Toncoin when we made that video, you would have lost 6.4% on your investment. So Toncoin, very glad it didn't make it in that portfolio. Maker, very disappointing, but you actually called this later. So again, we made this portfolio in June. Since then, you came out teaching, you were finding stuff saying, hey, Maker might be in trouble. You were right. It's only up 2% since that time. Only 27% for Pendle. That was a hot one at one point.
Yep.
Glad we didn't put that in. That one is close. We wrestled with Pendle. If anyone remembers watching the video, we wrestled with putting Pendle in. Decided not to. Pretty good decision because it's only up 27%. BNB only up 31%. Arbitrum and Optimism, layer 2s for Ethereum, respectable 39 and 59%, but just not good enough to say, oh, that was definitely deserving to be in there. And then, of course, you have the Polkadot Sheeb and Uniswap that, again, all respectable, all greater than 50%, but not quite doubling your money. The ones I'm kind of looking at right now, though, I'll be honest with you, Shroom, I'm looking at the ones that didn't perform well, and I don't think any of them are jumping off to me saying, oh, I know they didn't perform the last 6 months, but the next 6 months and the next year, these are the special projects that every beginner needs to be in. I just don't see that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Can we eliminate those from contention of being replaced into the portfolio?
I think so. So. Yeah.
And that being said, I'm not saying all of these need to be replaced too, but these are candidates because clearly something special happened in the last 6 months. And even though, yes, they might have had their specialness go away, we're still very early in the bull market. People are still choosing which coins they want to get a hold of and what they don't. Seeing these bigger rallies in these, what is this, 7 coins? These 7 coins are here. They definitely are on my radar. Even though they've had big pumps in the last 6 months, I believe these are coins that can continue and have good rallies for the rest of the bull market. But let's get into it. Let's talk about the list we have at the moment. And I told you Ethereum's on the radar. Let's have a discussion about Ethereum for a little bit. Only up 21% in the last 6 months. It's one of our safe choices. This is one I'm seriously considering saying, should we remove from this place? I still think there's potential for Ethereum to get closer towards $10,000. But of course, where we are right now, that's not even a 3x, right? That's a little less than a 3x from here. I think the bullish potential for Ethereum is still 16 to 18,000. So we're talking about a 4x or so. But the problem I want to run past you, Shroom, because you might disagree with me. Vitalik Buterin has been eerily silent recently. Even with Cardano's troubles, Charles Hoskinson was vocal. He was always out there talking to the community, telling them what's going on. Vitalik Buterin, with the exception of those memes of him dancing, I feel like I haven't seen him in the longest time. Does that concern you at all, or are you still thinking Ethereum's got a very strong bull market ahead of it?
Yeah, I mean, so far what we've seen, the data we have is not great that he's been super quiet. But what it does do is it kind of carves out the opportunity for them to make a splash. And by them, I mean, the Ethereum leadership obviously is best personified, represented by Vitalik. But he's kind of opened the doors, kind of waited. He hasn't had any kind of, boy who cried wolf type of effect, which you could have made the argument that up until recently, Cardano was kind of in that camp, and XRP definitely. They did not turn out, just to be clear, to be boy who cried wolf. They have performed pretty well, and I have every expectation that they will continue to perform well. I feel the same about Ethereum. Ethereum is just one of it's going to be the slow and steady that wins the race type of approach here for Ethereum. And of the other ones that we have highlighted, I would feel comfortable either greatly reducing the allocation or removing altogether. Render, Stacks, and Injective. Of those three, I think Injective probably has the most potential. But I think I would feel comfortable with those heads rolling, not Ethereum. I think Ethereum is going to have a special bull market. But it's just we haven't seen the performance quite yet. Why do I say that? There are only currently 2 cryptos with an ETF in the United States, and that is Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I'm just not counting it out just yet. Now, if we get to February, right, if we're almost into March and Ethereum has not hit its all-time highs yet, then you can start to ask the question, should this be dumped? But I definitely don't think that Ethereum is lower. I don't think that Ethereum is going to be below 3,500 by the end of February. I think it's going to be much higher. So it's still going to be a net gain. Is it going to beat Solana? Is it going to beat Sui and Chainlink and Ondo? Probably not. But I do think that potential is there for Ethereum to just absolutely blast off whenever Vitalik does make the decision to come out with some kind of explosive moment. We saw it happen with Cardano. We saw it happen with XRP. And we already know that a lot of what Donald Trump being the catalyst for XRP and Cardano, we already know that he has invested. A lot of the activity is on Aave. His project, World Liberty Fi, is on Aave, which is an Ethereum ecosystem DeFi project. So I am definitely not ruling Ethereum out. I'm not ready to cut it. And I honestly don't think that reallocating that $500 would be appropriate either.
Well listen.
Or 600.
Now it's 607, right?
Yeah.
This is what we bought, is now worth $607. So the pros of keeping Ethereum, for sure, like I think you said, I liked what you said. First of all, it's one of only 2 cryptos with an ETF, and therefore regulatory clarity and TradFi accessibility, right? Easy TradFi accessibility. You also could say, and this is a benefit, it hasn't performed well. But so unless we're saying that Ethereum is a dead project, that actually could be a catalyst to say that it could have a better rally going forward.
Yeah.
The downside of it is it hasn't been moving. It doesn't have a lot of news coming out. I know someone put in chat, Donald Trump's been buying a lot of it, which again, I want to say here, I'm very glad that we are going to have a president who's pro crypto. I think I heard people say the other day, he surrounded himself with smart people. I don't know names that are smart with on Ethereum. I've heard a lot of Bitcoin maxis he surrounded himself with, or people that know a lot about Bitcoin. But just because you know a lot about Bitcoin does not mean you know a lot about the altcoin space. I don't think that people should look at Donald Trump going big on Ethereum and say, oh, that right there alone is why it'll do well. Now, that's an argument to be made because maybe there's Trump followers out there who just blindly buy whatever he buys. But Trump didn't buy Ethereum because he knows some fundamental detail about it that we don't know. He bought it because it's the second largest cryptocurrency. He's learning about cryptocurrency. He did very well in selling NFTs in Ethereum, right? I don't look at that and say, oh, wow, Donald Trump knows something we don't know about to happen on Ethereum. So I want to make sure, even with that argument, that I'm wrestling with it. And then here becomes the other problem. And I guess with our rules, we can have more than 5 green safe picks. But when we think about 5 green safe picks, we're talking about coins, which is probably why Sui might not have been on green one. We're talking about coins that are really at or around the top 10 that have limited upside left. Again, Sui should be a blue name. And then that's what we're talking about replacing. We might replace the green with XRP. Like I'm looking down here, our 2 green picks, our 2 top 10 existing coins, XRP, Dogecoin. We're not going to invest in BNB. We've already kind of ruled that one out. XRP and Dogecoin, I like XRP better. And I don't think XRP has a 10x left in it. It's at 240. I do think this thing could get to 16. I think there's an outside chance XRP gets to $20. That's a little rich for me at the moment. Again, $16 is putting us at a $1 trillion market cap, right? So I'm already giving XRP a massive market cap. To get to 20, we're going to 1.4, 1.6 trillion. That's a lot for me, right?
That's a lot.
So, but I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, let's say we go from 240 to $16. I mean, that's not quite an 8x, but we're looking at like a 6x, 7x-ish. And I look at Ethereum and I'm saying, well, again, low end 10,000, that's 2x on it. It's not a 3x. High end 18,000 is where we're kind of putting it at. That's still only like a 4.5x, 5x at best. So to me, I think XRP outpaces it, but I'm almost sitting here wondering, Shroom, because I don't want to replace Bitcoin. Again, I have like a principle here. I believe every crypto holder should hold a little bit of Bitcoin. Notice we didn't put a lot into Bitcoin. We didn't put half the portfolio to Bitcoin. We put $500. That's now worth $861. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave the $861. I don't want to touch that. Principle, everyone should own Bitcoin. But I don't want to replace Solana, Cardano, or Cardano with it. So I think the only candidate in the green to replace it with would be Ethereum. But I think you can make an argument that you hold Ethereum, you kind of make Sui blue here. You make it one of our high risk. It's actually, it's not quite, in the top 10 yet. So that's why I'm going back. I'm forgetting our rationale as to why we turned that green. When it really should be blue. But that's what I'm kind of thinking. And I'll go ahead and jump to where I would replace it. And this is, I'm going to make my note here. There's a yellow coin on here that I do think I'm going to replace XRP and put it on this list with. And it's this one right here, Stacks. Now, listen, you guys have heard me talk about Stacks before. I'm not saying the Stacks can't increase. I'm not saying the Stacks can't go much higher and maybe push towards $10 or so. I'm not saying that's not possible. When we made this list and we were bullish on Stacks, it was because Stacks was the number 1 layer 2 on Bitcoin. Bitcoin drastically needed layer 2 solutions. Since this video, a lot of things had developed. And one of the biggest ones is Cardano's new relationship that T-Shroom mentioned earlier effectively has Cardano functioning as a layer 2. But it can do a lot more things than Stacks. Stacks concerns me. Again, I'm not saying that it's going to 0. I'm not saying you won't gain anything, but I think we went from, like, back then we talked about Stacks doing a 20 to 25x. Now I'm sitting here saying I don't know if that's possible. Let's go look at the Stacks current market cap and talk about what's doable there. Stacks, when we made this video, was in the top 30. It's now number 47. It has a market cap currently of 3.3 billion. This is one, Shroom. I don't know if it makes it to 50 billion. I think this could be dwindling out. It only makes it towards 20 billion, 30 billion at best. I'm concerned about it. And for that reason, I really think Stacks for XRP, and what we would do here is we would making this note here on my notepad. I think what we would do, going back to my notes, is we would make SUI blue because it should be. SUI's not a top 10 coin. SUI it's high, but it's only at number 15 at the moment. It should be a little lower here on our list. And I think we pencil in XRP in this 5 spot. And I'll tell you this, SUI needs to pick up more money. I know SUI is currently, we have a $2,900 portfolio. That's actually, of all our holdings, SUI went from being one of the smallest at only $500 to now this portfolio holds $2,900. That is the most of anything
other than chain.
I'm not going to say that I should get them. Actually, I think we have to leave SUI where it is, but I think it deserves to have one of the highest levels in the portfolio. One of our list of listing about 456. So I think this becomes blue. I think XRP really should squeak up here at that number 5 spot. I think you could probably give it all of the stack. I mean, we might, I think 1,500 stacks, 1,500 that only went up 50%, 1,000 turning to 1,500. I think you could dedicate that 1,500 right to XRP.
Yeah. Now we've got a super chat here, which I can't say that I disagree with. This is from Blockchain Poodles. Said, add File to the list. Talking about Filecoin. I think Filecoin could have a special rest of the market. I don't know that I'm ready to add it to the list, but I will say, Blockchain Poodles, if you're in Filecoin, you have already been rewarded, and I do think that it is going to continue to do pretty well.
RF says you guys only have one ISO coin on that list. Let's talk about that. We could talk a lot about that. I mean, ultimately, again, we're talking with coins here that are for beginner-friendly list, like things that we feel confident. And here's the other thing. T-Shroom, Crux, and I, we don't profess to know everything about everything in the world of crypto. We can only give tips and tricks on coins that we feel confident on. There's a coin out there right now in the top 100. I can promise you this. There's a coin out there that we are not talking about that's going to do something like a 15, 20x from here. And we wouldn't have seen it coming. I have no idea what that coin is. I don't know which one, how long it'll take. I don't know what's going to happen there. But I can't give you advice to go buy a coin that's going to 20x when I don't even know what coin that is. I have to look at what I've researched, what I've studied, what I understand the community loves and talks about. And to help a beginner keep it simple, we're not going to create the perfect portfolio. We didn't do it 6 months ago. And even with these adjustments, this portfolio going forward is, Crux just said, I do know 99% of everything in crypto. I love it. That threw me off for a second. This is not going to be a perfect list, a perfect portfolio. What it is going to be is a profitable one. It's going to be one that makes people money. And that's what we've done so far with it. And we're going to see if we can tailor it and improve it just a little bit. But let's talk here. Let's go back to it and let's talk about 2 other coins that I'm worried about. And then we can even open it up in coins that aren't yellow here. Is there any reason why we should remove them from this and replace them with others? I like Render. I think this is a coin that could 10x, Shroom, but it is an AI play. You've been very vocal that AI is one of the more speculative markets right now, that it really could go up, could go down. AI could be a boom or a bust in the rest of this bull market. Let's wrestle with this for a second. Render, do we keep it on the list? Do we keep one AI play on the list, or do we go away from it?
Well, we'll have Tau, and Tau is an AI play as well.
True. Okay.
So for that reason, definitely, and a lot of people are going to hear that, and they're going to be like, no, and there's a lot of smart investors who are bullish on Render. Doesn't mean they're wrong, right? It's just everything that we've kind of been analyzing has led us to the conclusion AI is just not it. Now, could we be wrong? We could be wrong, but, we'll at least be profitable. Yeah, I would say Render's got to go.
Render, and you're saying you're on a play. So we're just putting it on the chopping block.
Yeah, I think Render's out.
All right, so here's what we got to think about here. I think Render from here on out is a pretty safe 5x, but a possible 10x. So I really think we got to find, if we're going to replace this with something, we really got to find something on this list here that we think at least will 5 to 10x, but potentially outpace it. And again, when we look at the orange ones that have performed well, I don't know if you're going to see something on this list, T-Stream, that you like. I don't think I do on this lower list. But when you look up here, I think HBAR's got to stick out as a potential there. I know HBAR, again, big run here recently, but is that a sign of something even bigger coming? let's look at where HBAR is currently ranked. I think it's ranked like 73. So HBAR actually might be a great candidate because it's picking up momentum. Oh no, it's number 18. What am I thinking? Well, I was looking at something else that was out there. Okay, so it's number 18. Let's go back to the list here.
And it would kind of help us round out and have more ISO coins as well.
So here's the problem, though, with HBAR being at number 18, right? The current market cap of 11 billion. It's probably going to outpace Render in terms of market cap, right? Render, if I come down here, Render's coming in number 33, only it's less than half, 4.6. But that means for HBAR to outpace Render, it would have to do more than double the gain in market cap and price action for it to actually outpace Render. So is HBAR actually a good replacement of Render? I don't know. That's something definitely to keep aware of. And I don't know if I have an HBAR price prediction right in front of me, but I don't think HBAR is a top 10 coin. All right. I think it definitely could be a top 15. I think this is a coin that could have somewhere around a $50 billion market cap by the time it's all said and done, which is not quite a 5x from here. Maybe it gets closer to 70 billion, and we're talking about a 6-7x.
It sounds to me like you're not ready to part ways with Render.
And I just don't know if I'm ready to part ways with Render for HBAR, right? Okay. I see them similar, but I'd almost say Render, because of the smaller market cap, potentially has the greater return on investment.
Yeah. So then the question becomes, do we have enough conservative plays, or do we need more conservative plays? I would say if we're keeping Ethereum, that kind of locks us into probably having a decent amount of conservatism in this portfolio, especially the fact that we have any allocation to Bitcoin in general anchors us, with a conservative portfolio mindset. So, that would be an argument for keeping Render around.
This is the one
I will say we are a bit meme coin light, and I know Crux likes to say you want to have 10 to 20% of your portfolio in meme coins. That would make me kind of take a look at Dogecoin, which is in a great buy spot right now, by the way. But also Miro. I've been taking a look at Miro. That's in a pretty decent oversold spot.
Well, let's pause. Let's pause for a second. Let's reflect on a statement we just made. I love what Crux says. Here's the problem. We're talking about this one for beginner friendly. Mm-hmm. I don't even right. Crux, you're in chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. Crux, I don't think that you're saying beginners should have 20% of their portfolio in meme coins. I think that what Crux is talking about is more experienced investors have been around the block. They've been around. They know that things are going to happen. Meme coins more than likely will top out earlier. I think that it's. I'm going to talk not to my beginners right here. I'm going to talk to more experienced traders. I think that meme coins between now and March or April could be very explosive. If you go back to 2021, the biggest meme plays. I know Sheeb made a late push in the summer, but the rest of the meme space really performed well between January and April. And then after that big drop off that happened in May, most of them never hit new all-time highs again, right? So we want to be very careful with beginners at all. But if you're an experienced trader, hey, meme coins could be a good trade for the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the other thing you said, Dogecoin and even Pepe, because I think those ones could potentially be on here. Dogecoin, we really shouldn't treat like a meme coin. It's just too mature. I mean, this is a top 10 coin. It's not going to be a top 3 coin. It's already at 41 cents. I think we're on, anywhere between $1 and $2 is on the table, but we don't have a lot of X's left in Dogecoin. So at the moment, until I see something develop on X that says it's going to be a bigger deal, I see Elon reinvest in it, I think it's a good, safe play, but I would only replace, if I was going to put Dogecoin on this list, tell me which one you're replacing up here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, or XRP. Are you getting rid of any of those to put Dogecoin in? Myself, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying Doge is a bad investment. I'm just saying I can't say I got to put Doge above those 5 I just listed.
Gotcha. So we have about 10 minutes left in the show. Yeah. So it sounds like I'm okay with keeping Render. I think though, if there was going to be ones to roll, it'd be definitely Render and Stacks. Yeah. So, but that's just me, right? And we're a team and coming up with this.
I'll tell you what I got confused about with HBAR, because sometimes I confuse projects. It's Quant. Quant is interesting. Again, up at 100% in the last 6 months. Quant's been picking up some steam recently. So if you go to Quant, just like the rest of the space, Quant, it did have a big pullback after June. But look at how much we've rallied here. We're really exploding on quant. And if you go to CoinMarketCap, quant is coin number 71 with only a $1.6 billion market cap. Wow. What does that mean? It doesn't need to outperform Render. It doesn't need to outperform ASPAR. It doesn't need to outperform these. It doesn't need to have a bigger market cap or be ranked higher. Almost knocked my water over there. That could have been disastrous. But with that low market cap and with it having some momentum here as late, I kind of think, where'd my chart go? I'm kind of thinking a quant play replacing quant with Render might be the move here.
I don't hate it.
What are your thoughts there?
I don't hate it. I would be a proponent more of Dogecoin, which I've got pulled up here. It's just been absolutely crushing it. The fundamentals are there with Elon. You know, the inauguration is going to happen. Elon Doge is going to be in the news every single day, for better or for worse. But the name Doge will just be everywhere. It's got another 35% just in this channel. I don't have the upper resistance drawn, but just in this channel, it's got some serious upside. Then that's even before a breakout to make a real play at $1 per Doge. So, you know, Doge would have my vote, but I would not be upset with a quant pick over Render.
Again, I guess my whole point of Doge, I like Doge. It's right there on the cusp of saying, yeah, you should invest in it. I want people to know I'm not saying don't invest in Doge. When we're making our list of top 15, though, it's really hard. And in fact, I'm even looking at this, and I'm gonna come back a little bit on this. I'm actually not going to replace Render. I'm going to go and leave Render on there. We might move Render to risky plays. I'm going to remove Injective for quant. Okay, so that was the other one on here we were going to get rid of. I know we got to wrap up the show here in a second, but I'm going to replace Injective with quant. Injective didn't do much for me. I only have 468 now of the 300. I'm not going to make it or break my portfolio with this investment, but I do think quant has a chance to do special. It's been moving here. I want to leave. I think, we're going to leave Ethereum. I'm going to leave Render. I might move Render into our risky play. I might even say, you know what? Maybe Render shouldn't hold $1,000. Maybe we need to reallocate, to maybe a coin like, we already have a lot of Chainlink, right? We already have a whole lot of Chainlink.
Yeah, I think ICP.
But maybe Sui. Maybe we replace and put a little bit of the money from Render into Sui. Maybe bring our Render down towards 500 for now, and we leave that as our risky play.
There's so many names on this list that deserve, a greater allocation if we were to sell Injective. But oh man, do you bet on the best horse and put it on Sui or Chainlink, or do you put it on one that's underperformed like ICP? Or Jasmy coin that we still think has something special left in this bull market? It's a tough decision. Tim, the question is, are we gonna make these final decisions here on stream?
Well, yeah, we're gonna make them. I'm gonna make sure we update this portfolio. All of our VIP traders, if you are a VIP trader, I will publish this list, not where you can edit it, just where you can see it. And if we make any edits, you can see it. I'm gonna publish this in the VIP trading group, and I'm gonna make the edits not live here because that's time consuming, right? You're just gonna sit here with me clicking buttons and moving things around. I'm gonna make these moves here, but just so you guys know what we're gonna do, we're gonna replace Stacks with XRP, and the 1500 that's in Stacks at the moment, we're gonna allocate that to XRP. Okay, and XRP is gonna move into that green slot at number 5. Sui's gonna move down into a blue slot because Sui is, again, not a risky play. It's not yellow. It's one of our bigger potentials. I still think Sui has a 10x left in it. I think Sui could go over $50 in the next year. I'm going to put that as a more blue. XRP, not a 10x, but it is something I do believe you should be allocated to. If I make some other dollar allotment changes, again, VIP trading group will see that. I'll make those notes, but that's my big one. Stacks, we're replacing with XRP. Injective, we're going to replace with Quant, right? We're going to get rid of Injective, replace it with Quant. We're going to leave Render, but Render, we're going to take $500 and we'll move $500 into... let's see. We didn't decide on that one. Which play here do you want to leave it into? The ones that I see here that have the biggest potential would be Jasmy, Chainlink, Tau, and Sui. Not saying the others can't have good runs as well, but that to me is the ones I feel confident about. We kind of skipped over ICP. We're going to leave ICP on here because I think ICP has a future, but I'm definitely not allocating more money. That's another one I potentially might remove. couple $100 from ICP and move that into something else as well. I think Chainlink is good where it is. It's a lot of money in Chainlink. I think Sui's got a lot in it. I'm looking at my other two big plays. I think we could increase the Jasmine holding, and I think we could increase our Tau holding, which, again, I think are the bigger potentials here. So I'm going to mess with that after the show, get it to our VIP trading group.
I like it.
But that is our beginner-friendly portfolio here. Update. Not a whole lot of changes, but enough that, we doubled our money and more so in the last 6 months. I'm just wanting you guys to know this portfolio, my expectation, we're not really heavy on Bitcoin or Ethereum, so they're not going to hold us back. Those are the coins that don't have a lot of gains left in them. We have a little bit of allocation into Solana and XRP. That's going to be healthy, I think, with 5-6x left in it. Not going to make a lot there. But with the rest of these coins on this list, Shroom, my expectation for this portfolio this time next year, I believe we're pushing close to a 10x, maybe a little below, maybe an 8 to 9x, but potentially, depending on how some of our lower plays play out, just how bullish Chainlink and Jasmine and AVAX and others get, this could be a 10x play from here. We're talking about a portfolio that 6 months ago was $10,000. Right now it's at $21,500. We're talking about this could be a portfolio worth over $200,000 or close to it this time next year. So check out, if you guys are watching back, if you just joined us for some reason, go back through the entire video. It's 50 minutes long, but I think it's worth it as we wrestle through portfolio stuff. And again, if you're an experienced trader, if you're an experienced investor, you might have some disagreements with this list. You might say, you know what? I want to go with this instead. I want more risky plays. I want less safe picks. That is completely fine. And I want you guys to know, while I'm building this portfolio, this doesn't mimic my portfolio, right? My portfolio is probably a little more aggressive than this one. But as I'm thinking about and wanting to protect brand new investors, we're talking about somebody who just joined maybe 6 months ago, somebody who just joined a couple months ago. You're about to get your grandma or your grandpa or your brother who knows nothing about crypto involved. You do not want to be feeding them a bunch of meme coins. You don't want to be feeding them a bunch of small caps. You want to make sure their hard-earned wealth that they're not going to understand that much about. They're just going to want to buy, walk away, and come back and reap the benefits. You want to be conservative with all the details. That's why this chart, you guys are going to say this is a conservative portfolio. But even with that, I still think this portfolio is a potential 10x in its conservatism. Let me know in the comments in the chat, though, if you agree or disagree and what changes you would make. With that said, though, we are about to wrap up this show just a little early because we are jumping over into that webinar. I will not be there. I have a couple of things I got to work on, but Shroom will be there. Mark Holloway will be there. If you want a career that is satisfying and you are your own boss, you don't want to miss this webinar. Check out the link down below. With that said, you guys go have a fantastic weekend. Spend time with family, hug a loved one, touch some grass. We'll see you Monday. Adios.